All right, episode 431 of our podcast here is brought to you by a couple different products that I really think you guys should get your hands on. One of them is called the Relax Far Infrared Sauna, and the saunas are great for detoxifying the body, getting rid of chemicals and toxins in your fat cells, helping to cleanse your lymphatic system, increasing heat shock proteins, increasing the immune system by up to 40%, from what I understand. You can go onto our sauna page and listen to some interviews we've done with the manufacturer of that, as well as listening to some talks by Dr. Rhonda Patrick and Dr. Brian Clement, among others, talking about how incredible it is to sweat. And this is something that I really want all of you guys to get. The Relax Sauna is an incredible machine, so go check it out. And this show is also brought to you by Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Qigong, Qigong is sort of like Tai Chi, but it's really, it's sort of like an ancient meditative exercise. It helps you ground yourself and your energy and your life force. And the ancient Chinese have been practicing this for thousands and thousands of years. And it's a longevity exercise because it helps you to bring in the energy and to store your energy and to not leak your energy. So if you're feeling stressed out, or you're getting involved in dramas at work or school, or people are sucking you into their weird little worlds, Qigong is a great way to sort of combine meditation along with movement. And I really highly recommend it. It's really great because it only takes you about 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. It's all professionally done by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, two of really great people. We've done some shows with them. Qigong is an amazing exercise to add to your longevity and health and healing practice. I really enjoy it a lot. I think you guys would really like it. It's really great, and highly recommend it to everyone I talk to. So if you're interested in the sauna as well as the Qigong, check those out on our show page. They'll both be linked to at extremehealthradio.com/431, and they'll also be in our stores as well. So there you go. All right, let's get on with the episode. All right, here we are, episode 431. I'm looking at your piece of paper there.
Upside down. What does it look like upside down?
It looks like an occultic, cryptic symbol.
It's very cryptic. Yeah, it doesn't look... The numbers are weird upside down.
Yeah, look at that. All right, so episode 431. Welcome, everyone, to our Free For All Friday show. We appreciate you guys listening. And for those that aren't familiar with our Free For All Friday shows, we talk about health, spirituality, religion,
pretty much anything
emotions
we want.
Yeah. And it's kind of tied into health, right? Because we're not nutritionists. We had somebody asking us about where the direction of the show is going, and it's always going to be about health. But on our Friday shows, we just get to kind of vamp and just talk about other subjects, and everything seems to correlate to health. But we talk about other issues as well. As
a holistic being, it's hard to ignore the other sides. Mm-hmm. To me, health is just so intertwined.
Yeah.
With spirit and emotions and everything. I love Fridays. I think it's fun hanging with you.
I know, it's cool, huh?
Yeah,
we get to talk about what's going on in our life. I mean, the theme of the show is health, but it's like we talk about books we're reading, we talk about past guests, we talk about
past lives. Just kidding.
Past lives.
Hey,
well, that's all part of it, right? We talk about our previous guests. We talk about some of the things we're doing in our life, news stories, what's going on in the natural health community. Take listener questions, talk about religion, spirituality. I think it's a lot of fun. I personally enjoy these shows the most.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
Just because it allows us to sort of share our opinions and our ideas about what the guests are talking about. Because a lot of times when the guest is on, you're not really trying to debate a guest. You're not really trying to, get up in someone's grill and get all angry at them. About no, this person shouldn't be eating, gluten, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's just so many people's opinions, and I feel like I feel like there's so many ways to heal and to become a healthier person. So yeah, I mean, we're not there to, you're right, to debate.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the idea of this show, the Friday show, is to sort of digest everything that we've been learning throughout the weeks and months and what we're putting into practice in our lives, and sort of bring the community together to share ideas about what's working for them and different, practices that are working and how people are making progress and healing naturally and all kinds of stuff. But a lot of times people don't like the talk about religion or spirituality. And I just don't see how you can be, like you just said, a holistic being without talking about those deeper subjects.
Yeah, how do you separate the two? I mean, if we're a spirit, I guess for people who believe we're spiritual beings, then how do you? I just think they're so enmeshed that it's almost silly not to talk about the other aspect. It'd be silly to talk about all spirit and non-physical too, because obviously being a human in a human bodysuit, this is what we're given to kind of go through the trenches in.
You can't just have a happy attitude and eat McDonald's and wonder why your tumors aren't going away.
Right.
In the same way you can't simply cleanse your body and just be a wreck spiritually and emotionally either. Yelling at people and being angry all the time and not being able to get out of that while drinking a green juice.
I know.
It's a whole thing.
I know.
And, some people have been asking, the direction of the show and things like that. But I just think that, for us, we're not nutritionists. We're just sharing with you guys what's going on in our lives. And, my intention isn't to share with you, take X amount of milligrams of vitamin C per day and that's going to do this for you. And, that's all
right. Here's exact protocols to follow. And
yeah, I mean, other people do that, if we were licensed nutritionists, maybe we would do that. But, we just share with you what's going on in our lives and how we're doing stuff. And,
that's why I feel like it's so great to have the people that we do, the guests that we do, because they're able to, if people want to delve further into their work, there are the books and resources and online, things available for people to be able to follow, deeper into a protocol or an idea. I feel like that's the fun part, is we just get to ask questions and be like, that was interesting, whether or not we agree with it all, or, we're the blessed ones to be able to just to have conversations with people, and people can take away from it what they want and follow down, further or not, and throw away what they don't, and hopefully get inspired by what something we say, hopefully.
Yeah, because, you can't really, take in all of these people saying everything and, think that we're going to believe everything everyone says. I mean, a lot of people say, who was that one guy that was talking about, really interesting guy? What was he talking about? Oh, Ken Rolla,
Off the air.
Was it off the air? Or I think it was on the air, because he's talking about, this shaman was able to make black holes in his bedroom or something. Remember that, in a room?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know if that's true, but it really doesn't matter if it's true or not,
Interesting concept, I'll tell you.
It's interesting, and why not just, play with the idea and see what happens. But, we can't debate every guest we have on, and that's kind of, this show is kind of designed for us to all come together and talk about what we like about certain guests, what we don't like about other guests, and see what works for certain people and not others, and that kind of thing, Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing about the whole thing. I think it's so funny because, over the last weekend, I went on my retreat. Last Free for All Friday, we did it the morning I was leaving for my retreat.
That's right.
And I think for those who, I've shared this many times, but we stay in this little hermitage type house on the property in Santa Barbara, and we do our own thing. But this time, my two girlfriends and I had two housemates, and it was so funny because they were very spiritual people. Totally not completely like we believe, but it was great because I thought, why would we want to be stuck in a house with these people starting a debate about things? Or, I thought it was so interesting to give each other the freedom just to be. And it's so funny when you put out a podcast or something to have people write you in or put comments on YouTube about what they think about it. And that's fine. It's an open discussion, but it's like, I just feel like I'm not here to debate anybody. I don't have to win you over. Your journey, I have no business in judging your journey and where you are in life. So these people were interesting though. I thought that was so fascinating to just every time I go to that house and there's other people, I just find it so refreshing because everybody just lets everybody be, so far in my experience. But
so they didn't try to debate you at all? They didn't try to get you going?
Nope.
Try to take positions on things?
No, and it was cool. They were sharing. It's almost like people that go on retreat, other people assume that we're going to give each other space to be that way. And we talk it's like we started talking to this couple and they're from Oregon, and we just started chatting about, what did they say? I think within the first few minutes, it was like, oh yeah, we just had this healer who's known, and he's getting really well known. I forget his name. It was like Francis the Healer or something like that. I'll have to find his name.
Harry the Healer?
Sounds like a magician. Hey, same thing. No, I'm just kidding. But they just had this guy stay at their house, and it was really interesting to talk about. They just assumed that we all probably were like, wouldn't think that was weird. Or it's funny when you're in a situation, an environment that breeds spirituality.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
Why? Because people allow other people to have their own journey? Or what do you mean? Like,
well, it's just funny because crusades, like a Harvest Crusade type thing, or a retreat you go on with your church, like all those things are great, but you pretty much know what you're getting into. It's like, I'm going and this is a Christian event, or this is a Jewish event, or this is things are very like put in a box, and you kind of know what you're getting. But when you go up to this retreat center where people just do their own thing, it's an all faiths retreat center. Right. It's so cool because people just talk about God. It's like you cut all the bull and you just look at your spirit.
You cut out all the bull? What?
The bull.
Oh, the bull.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bull. I wasn't going to say the whole word.
I see.
No, I'm trying to keep it a little family friendly. Yeah. But, it's just like, I feel like there's something different about that, that environment, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's cool.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, it's nice to be able to allow people their own journey.
Yeah, it is.
And
so I like that about our Free for All Friday show. It's glimpses of our own journey that I think it's cool to look back on and see how we've changed, or what we used to be like, or what we're still like, and what we want more of, and where we're going.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty cool.
Got a lot of stuff to get to today. Today's a busy day. We have a bunch of listener questions. But you know what I want to tell people about? The funny thing about my bee sting.
Oh my goodness.
This is just hilarious.
You had quite the ordeal, didn't you?
Yeah. If you, so if you go on our Instagram account, you can see pictures. I took about 3 pictures. It's funny because the first picture I took doesn't even look like my eyes swollen at all.
Not at all.
I took it right after it happened. And I actually thought when I took that photo that was as bad as it was going to be. And then it turned out that was about 1% of what was to come.
What do you say? It looks like you went a couple rounds with
12 rounds with Tyson.
12 rounds with Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just uncorked a left uppercut on me. And I didn't see it coming.
Oh.
So apparently you were, this is the funny thing about this story is, so we walk our dog, little wiener dog, Maggie, who's curled up right below us. And we walk her about 3 times a day, and for probably about 20 minutes. And so I walked her, this was the 3rd walk of the day. And as I'm walking her, all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, this bee just dive bombs my head and my face, and lands on my left eyelid. And I just happened to be blinking at the time because I never saw it, never heard it. I just happened to be blinking. If that bee had
sunglasses,
stung my eye. Yeah, I don't wear sunglasses anymore because of John DeWitt, Dr. DeWitt, our show that we had with him about eye health.
So you wear them very rarely.
Yeah, I wear them. I wear them sometimes down at the beach if the
glare,
the sun is reflecting off the ocean too much or something. But I try not to wear them.
I don't wear them as much as I used to.
Are you getting better at it?
I'm getting better.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's starting, sorry, I know we're getting off track, but it's starting out your day without them that your eyes adjust. It's when you go halfway through a day and then you try to take them off. That's a problem.
That's impossible. Yeah.
Okay. Back to the bee.
Yeah, so I'm just walking along with no glasses on, and this bee just comes out of nowhere. And I just happened to be blinking at the time that it stung my left eyelid. And it was just the most bizarre thing. And so I heard it stinging. It was like, zzz, and it was on my eyelid. And I knew exactly.
Having a heyday with your eyelid.
Yeah, just doing work on top of my eye.
Ugh.
And then so I brushed it off and it didn't go away. So it was either stuck to me or it was just really angry. And so I brushed it away again. I knew immediately it just started, it was just really hurting a lot. So I ran home with Maggie. It turns out that you were doing Reiki on me at the exact time.
I was practicing. Yeah, my retreat was really interesting. My one friend, she's a Reiki, I wouldn't say, yeah, she's a practitioner. Yeah, she is. But she decided we asked my other best friend and I asked her if she would train us in Reiki because we're so interested in this energy work, and it's gaining popularity. It's getting pretty big. And I've had a few Reiki sessions myself, and they seem to make a difference. Especially the last one my girlfriend gave me. I was going through, what was that? Pretty bad. Oh, I had eaten a sardine and reacted really poorly. A couple weeks ago, I ate a sardine. A wild-caught sardine, trying to get some omegas.
Oh, that's right.
And it really stirred up some stuff in my kidneys, and so I was having all this kidney pain. It went on for 3 days, and it was
just from one sardine.
Two sardines.
You ate them at one time, though. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so I asked her if she could do Reiki on me long distance, and she said absolutely. And within a half hour after that session, I was a different person. It was just insane. So anyway, I've had a lot of interest in this. So yeah, she was training us in Reiki, and we tried it on each other, and that's a whole other story because I actually had an accident, and it was an amazing situation. But the other one was let's practice Reiki long distance, sending Reiki to our husbands. And so I had been sending you Reiki, which when you called right after we had finished the session, and you said I just got stung by a bee, and at that point when you called me, you hadn't taken the stinger out yet, so you didn't know if it was in your eye, on your eye.
I had no idea.
Oh gosh. So that was going on, but then we joked about it later. You said, well, Reiki's either causing this or protecting me, or
you either created the bee sting or you created the situation where I just happened to be blinking at the exact time the bee flew on my eye.
I don't even know. I don't know. But man, are you lucky that thing didn't get in your eyeball.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen in that case.
What would happen? Would you lose your sight for a while?
I don't think you would.
Would your eye itself swell?
Oh, I'm sure.
Is that possible?
Well, that could be a problem because your eye only has, it's like when your brain swells, you only have so much room in your head, your head can't expand.
Right.
That's why they got to cut people open when they get traumatic brain injuries like that.
Right.
But when your eye swells, it's kind of the same situation because your ocular cavity is only so big. So if it were to swell up twice the size, you ever seen that lady who can pop her eyes out of her head? Have you seen that lady? Have you seen that lady?
I think I had to look away. I can't handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she'll have this really surprised expression on her face. I think it was a black lady, and she was.
Yes, I did.
And she just does this very surprise. I think she was on a talk show or something.
It reminds me of Jim Carrey on The Mask, where it's your eyes just kind of jump out of their sockets.
Yeah.
I thought you meant she actually removed her eyeballs from her socket and put them back in. I'm like, that's pretty intense.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But it could have been bad. It could have been really bad. So
thank God for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny with that. I never really made sense of why that happened, but I'm sure if I look deeper, there's a reason as to why that happened.
Yeah.
But I'm curious that you had a fall over there, and that was interesting.
I did
gained a lot of sort of insight from that.
Yeah, and a lot of it's personal, so I won't share it. But I basically ate it on a rock that was full of lichen or some kind of moss that looked dried, and I was off off on my own, kind of with my journal and all this stuff. And the next thing I knew, I was just smack down on my left hip, straight onto that rock. Oh my gosh! Somehow I got my right kneecap, but mostly my whole left side. I ruined my pants. I had green rock marks all over my body.
Oh my gosh.
All over my clothes, which is a miracle that they actually took my clothes from me. Those girls are amazing. And they got vinegar from under the sink to spray ants with at the home. Oh. And they soaked it in that. And my gosh, you wouldn't even know that they were hurt at all. So anyway, I was more hurt, and I started getting this instant bruise on my hip. Still have a little bit of a scab on my elbow here, a little bruise, but I bruise really easy. Yeah. I bruise easy and I bruise deep. So when I get a bruise, it's a big deal. It lasts for a long time. Well, I started immediately getting the bruise showing, and, immediately we went back to the little house, and, I asked if they would do Reiki on me, which is an interesting thing because we were training in Reiki. It's here I am, this test subject now,
totally. Yeah.
And they gave me a half hour, 40-minute session, and and I could barely walk, mind you. I thought I had shattered something. I thought I tore a ligament, a tendon. I didn't know what, but all I knew is I'd never had that kind of an experience where you cannot walk. Like my hip and my leg were just, it was horrible.
Wow.
So they did this Reiki session on me. And after that, I mean, my gosh, it was like that other time that she did it after the sardines. It was like night and day of difference.
Half of 45 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the session was, maybe 40 minutes or something.
But it was longer than like a minute.
Oh, yeah. I was laying on the biomat, the crystal biomat.
Oh, right.
And they were giving me this awesome session, and I was in a lot of pain. And let me tell you, it just I was walking after that with hardly any little hitch in my giddy up, if you want to say. And by that night, it kept getting better and better. I took a bath with some essential oils with my Reiki charged stones that had been Reiki charged for me.
You're turning into a weirdo.
With some frankincense.
You're turning into a weirdo.
I'm turning into an official weirdo. And you know what? That bruise stopped bruising. It stopped turning into a bruise and became the yellow. Like when a bruise starts to leave days or weeks later, it became that yellow color. And then it was like pretty much disappeared by the second day. So it skipped the middle. It skipped the middle of being hurt, the process of going through a bruise. It was the strangest experience.
That's so weird.
So I find it interesting that last week, a week ago today, we were talking on this free-for-all about expectations and attachments to outcomes. And we brought up my retreat, and you said, what's one thing, if anything, that could ruin this situation, this trip for you? And I'd said, oh, well, I'm more need to readjust my expectations. And it might be that one of my friends had to pull out at the last minute and couldn't go.
I remember that.
But I'd still be okay because blah, blah, blah. Well, then it's like you never see that kind of thing coming.
No.
And so I even went through a little bit of an interesting period with this where the fall happened. And I kind of, for a few hours, I was resenting the space itself, which is really sad to me because that's such my sacred space in my head where I go to when I want to feel complete calm, because this is the place I go to has been nothing but nourishing, nothing but soul quenching for me. And like part of my retreat from the world. And part of me said, I don't want to go back there. Like, this hurt me and I can't believe this happened. And this isn't as magical as it was. And it's now taken on this new, identity. And I'm going to, if I'm really, really hurt, like I felt like I was when it first happened, I thought I'm just going to associate this with that. And that's what I'm going to remember the most. But here I am a week later, going back to the gym tomorrow with you.
Look at that.
Moving my hip. I still have a little bit of a twinge at times if I do, but it's been only a few days. So
by tomorrow, you'll probably be all the way better.
It's pretty miraculous. Yeah. And emotionally, something shifted where I started thanking the place and the rock for the journey. Because what it is, that's where it gets a little personal, which I won't share a bunch of, where it's really for me. But that part became the gift. What came out of that, all these ideas and inspirations and really a lot of healing.
From the fall?
From the fall.
Like emotional healing?
Yeah.
Kind of thing?
Yeah. And maybe physical. I mean, who knows? Maybe it jarred something to where, I haven't had a digestive problem since, which is interesting.
Wow.
I have been able to eat a lot more things. I've been a lot freer with my diet. It's just, I find it fascinating.
That reminds me, what was the story of that woman who, I think you and I both saw this news story on YouTube or something where this woman's daughter is in a tree.
Oh yeah, it's that movie that just came out with Jennifer Garner.
Oh yeah, what was that?
I think it already came out. I don't remember what it was called, but it's a true story. We did watch an interview on a morning show with the mom and daughter.
And she gets some medical condition or something from it?
Yeah, so apparently what I remember is the little girl was having seizures or having all these problems, and they took her into the hospital one night, and basically they didn't know what was wrong with her, but it was just a really bad, weird body gone wrong kind of thing.
Okay, and this is based on a true story?
Yeah. Remember, because we watched the mom and the daughter being interviewed.
And what was the name of the movie for people?
I don't remember. We'll have to link to it.
Yeah.
We'll have to find it. I don't remember. But yeah, basically it was this little girl had this uncurable condition or something.
Yeah. And
she and her brothers and sisters or whatever were out climbing this tree in their yard, and the branch cracked and she fell. And I think she fell, if I understand right, she fell into the inside of the tree, like this hollowed out, rotten tree. And she fell like I don't know, like a long distance, feet. I don't know if it was 10 or 20 or 30 feet or whatever.
Little girl, right?
A little girl. And she ended up falling and on her head, I think. And it literally cured her. Like it ended up taking
disease, right? Or some condition.
What condition? It ended up curing the condition she had. So when they took her in to get looked at, not only was she not dead and paralyzed and fell on her head, but it reversed everything. And I mean, talk about a miracle. So of course they would make a movie about it. And
wow.
But I thought that with my hip, I thought, what if this is, and it's funny because my two girlfriends said the same thing. They said, what if this fall, it's kind of like the recall healing idea.
Right.
What if the fall is part of the healing? What if the fall is the healing? What if
the fall is in the same way that someone could take like a Tylenol for a headache or a white willow bark for a headache? That is a piece of a component that leads to healing. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be something you ingest. It could be an event or an activity that could lead to that as well.
Which we don't think about. Like, I thought, oh, this is tragic. Great. What am I going to have to do to heal from this now? Am I going to need surgery? Am I going to need physical therapy? Am I going to need all this stuff?
Right.
And already, I mean, it's not even a week later. I think it happened a week ago tomorrow. But it's already showing me like all these beautiful things emotionally and then physically as well. I mean, it's odd that I haven't really had a flare up of anything for struggling for so long. So.
10 years ago, would you have ever looked deeper into situations in your life and asked what the deeper meaning of it is?
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's not part of our culture to do that. It's part of our collective mindset just to say, okay, I've fallen, I broke my collarbone or I snapped my forearm or something, and now I got a cast, and
right.
Now I got to heal.
Clumsy, or I was.
Yeah, and so you just think about, okay, I have to heal. I have to, maybe I was clumsy, but it's not within our nature to really, look back at what was going on in my life at the time, or what emotional struggles did I have, or,
right.
What can I learn from this, or in what ways is this going to make me stretch,
mm-hmm.
or how has this affected any other issues I have with my body? Like you said, you didn't have any issues with digestive problems after that. So it's not really
and I'm not saying it's not going to still be challenging, but
you're healed.
Yeah?
Yeah, there you go. I'm proclaiming
that. Rock healed me.
Yeah, it's just not really within, it's not normal for us to think like that.
No, it's not.
Unless you start looking at sort of the deeper aspects of life, like you said, recall healing or any of those types of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You see the deeper impacts of why we create, or we are a part of creating these things in our life.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, huh?
What was Michelle Schrader, Lamassa Schrader, that we had on recall healing? What was she saying? Is it do you know with recall healing, does it have to be is it like a 15-year cycle for everybody that you look at, or?
No, I think that's an aspect of recall healing, and I think they call it the autonomy cycles.
Okay.
And it has to do with cutting your age in half. I think certain people do it different. I think the autonomy, the way I understand it is the autonomy cycle is you go back to whatever age you were when you were finally out on your own.
Mm.
So if you left your house at 21 exactly, then you look back at that age and you see the cycles in your life. So if something traumatic happened at 20 and you moved out at 21, then something traumatic could happen to you, or there could be aspects of that recycle themselves at 40.
Mm.
But she was talking about something different. I think if you cut your age in half, that's what Dr. Massey was saying yesterday in the call I had with him, is that if you cut your age in half, you can keep going and you can find these aspects. So if you're 40, you go back to 20, and then from 20, you go to 10. From 10, you cut it in half to 5. And at 5, 10, 20, 40, you can start seeing these same cycles that happen.
Well, this is weird because yesterday, this is a week later, I thought, gosh, that was some of the worst pain, physical pain and emotional release, and this very odd experience through all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, this might be a defining moment. It felt like a really defining moment in my life. Not just I fell on a rock and got hurt. There was so much more, but there was a lot of pain and there was a lot of healing, and it was a strange thing. But you know what I put together is exactly 15 years ago on that day. It was either that day it happened or the day after was when I was supposed to get married to that other guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a second. May, what day would that have been?
I believe we had set it for May 8th, and I think this was May 7th. So it was almost 15. And I thought, what else in my life? Because I was thinking through, like, what was the second, or what were the top 5 most painful defining moments in my life? And I thought that was pretty much the last one that was that big for me.
You know what's interesting just came to me right now?
What?
Is you had another experience with your ex when you were there.
I sure did.
Right? Of releasing him and letting him
Or
go.
I let him go there, right.
Isn't that weird? So what if something's coming up for you and him there in that way? You know? Wow. So that was 15 years ago, almost to the day that you were supposed to get married to him?
Literally to the day. I mean, I had, as part of my releasing, I let go old wedding invitations printed out. I don't know the exact day, but I think it was supposed to be May 8th or May 9th.
Wow.
15 years ago.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if something's there.
I don't know. And that could be, whether there is or not, I mean, it's pretty wild to think almost down to the day there's these 2 defining points in my life of a lot of pain, but also a lot of healing, So I don't know.
That's interesting.
It was interesting. So I kept thinking about the recall stuff, and I was like, wow, this stuff is bizarro.
Super bizarre. I want to thank our latest patrons for donating to us. We really appreciate this.
What we got?
Jessica Prentice, Silly Bird.
Woohoo!
Our good friend, Susan Van Horn.
Nice.
And Jamie Swindoll. Thank you guys so much for supporting us on Patreon.
Patreon.
They're patrons supporting us on Patreon. But for those of you that aren't aware, Patreon is a place where you can donate on a per podcast basis. So if people want to donate 50 cents or $1 per podcast or $10, $20, we do 4 shows a month, and you can set a cap on there. And so if you don't want to spend, let's say you do $1 and we do 5 shows in a month, you'll only be charged for 4. And so
I think that's good for people to know.
Yeah. So thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Jamie. We really appreciate that. Want to let everyone know too, Nick Seal, our latest iTunes review.
Nice.
Justin Kate are 2 of the most open-minded people I've ever encountered. They have such a great relationship with each other and their listeners. They make me feel like I'm sitting with them having these conversations. I look forward to every single episode. Their guests have so much knowledge and wisdom. I feel blessed to hear all of this info. If it wasn't for J&K, I'd be struggling to find like minds to get inspired by. I love the Free for All Fridays. That's cool.
Nice.
It really makes me feel like I know them personally. They always respond to listener questions, so that helps the community they've created to grow. I am very interested in health, which leads me to questioning the entire reality we are a part of. And I love that aspect of the show where they entertain thoughts that might be a little edgy or maybe too woo-woo. Overall, I give this podcast 100 stars. Well, I don't think you can give
100.
it 100.
Nice.
I don't think you can give it 100 stars.
Nick, you rock.
If you can, that'd be cool. Thank you, Justin, Kate. You guys have inspired me beyond belief. Much love to you, to both of you.
I think you read that on the last Free for All too. People get to hear it twice.
No, I don't think so.
I think you did.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, so thank you, Nick. That was our latest iTunes review. And if you guys are enjoying our show, I would really appreciate it if you can go over to iTunes, type in Extreme Health Radio, all one word, and leave us a review on there. Because I don't think a lot of people realize this, but the more people that leave reviews, the more our show ranks higher. Hey. What's Maggie doing?
Maggie's eating dirt. Don't eat that.
Maggie, you can't eat dirt. Actually, that's probably good for her.
I think she's eating, yeah.
But yeah, so the more people that leave reviews, so we would really appreciate it if you could leave some reviews. I also want to get to really quickly some of these health summits that are going on. Today, the 14th? No, 13th. Okay,
13th.
One more day. The Fit Life Probiotic put out by Drew Canole is available until the 14th. And if you use the coupon code RESULTS, you'll get another additional 10% off. There's a special launch pricing. The Nutrition Conference, that's over with. The Vitamin Summit is going on from May 12th to May 18th. You know who's putting that on?
Who?
Dr. Andrew Saul, we had on our show.
That's right.
He talked about doing the high dose vitamin C.
That's right.
So that's cool. May 12th to May 18th, 2016. Breast Cancer Prevention Summit, May 15th to the 20th. Natural Cancer Prevention Summit from May 16th to May 23rd. The Anti-Aging Summit from June 6th to the 13th. The Body Ecology Launch, that's going to be happening in June, and we'll let you guys know more about that. That's actually happening from June 7th to June 24th. and Healing Hashimoto's from June 13 to June 19. And also, Hay House World Summit's going on right now.
Man, spring is the summit time, huh?
Yeah,
it seems like.
It's going nuts, going crazy. So I would encourage you guys to sign up for all of these summits, or at least the ones that you're interested in, because everything is free on there. And so you can buy the summits after it's all over with, but it's only available for a certain amount of time, and then it's over with. But it's all free during the launch.
What a great thing. Who was the first person who came up with a summit?
I don't know.
Great idea.
Yeah, super good.
To even
idea.
call it a summit is just this cool, like when you think summit, you think meeting of people on a mountain.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Andrea, how do you say this name? Andria? Andrea?
Andrea?
Hi, I listened to your podcast on biofilms with Robert von Sarbacher and spoke with him over the phone about his, I love that he calls it a Methuselah product. Mm-hmm. I'm a bit skeptical still and wanted to know whether either of you have tried the product, and if so, what was your experience? We have not tried his product. Mm-mm. So we don't know. We have people have written in that have, and their experience is good. Apparently Robert's a difficult guy to get a hold of, though, because we have a lot of people that email in and said, hey, I wrote to Robert and he never wrote back. And
yeah, we've had that quite a few times, actually, huh? Mm-hmm. Huh.
Yeah.
Is he just MIA, or he's just...
I don't know. You know what's funny? People like we still get comments about people like Robert von Sarbacher and...
Ogenus, maybe?
No, Anthony William.
Oh.
People are very polarized by those two guys, because we've had many people say they sound like hucksters or charlatans, and they sound like they're in it for the money. And they're not revealing too much, which makes me skeptical, and they just sound like they're trying to do a sales job. And then other people say, oh man, I've gained so much benefit from them, and their work has helped me, and I feel so much better. And
who's to say?
So hard, right?
I know.
Yeah.
That's why we have them on, right? So people can find them and choose to believe how they want to believe about it.
Hey, I wanted to tell you, did you hear about what's going on with Dr. Burzynski?
Yeah, I saw Ty's email. Did you get to watch it yet?
I watched most of the video, yeah.
Great. What's the deal?
Dude, they're trying to take his medical license away. And they've already taken like millions of dollars worth of his office equipment, and they've seized all of his medical records, and none of his patients can get treatment from him again.
Unreal.
My goodness, man.
What state does he live in?
He's in Austin.
Oh my gosh.
So much for living in Austin, man.
So much. I love Austin.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's such a big deal. That's such a big deal.
For those that are unfamiliar, Dr. Burzynski is a natural, he's a medical doctor, which is what all this problems is about. But he's a medical doctor that he's using natural treatments, and he's got this anti-neoplaston therapy for brain cancer. And he's having just incredible results with it. And, I hate to say this about anybody, because I don't think anyone really does this, but he's been healing people. And I don't even know if that's the right word. His treatments have been helping people overcome cancer. And he's had incredible success, and they are just putting him through the ringer. It's just so incredible.
So what are they saying? Do you mind if I turn that fan off? I'm freezing.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
What are they saying, though, about, like, what's their reasoning behind that he's not doing the standard of care, which is the typical / burn and poison or whatever?
/ burn and poison. Yeah, so what they're saying is that he's not following the standard of care. And the standard of care is the holy grail. It's the standard by which everything is judged. So Dr. Massey was telling me a while ago that, like, if they have a patient, back when he was practicing medicine, if they had a patient that came in and that patient died under the doctor's watch, the only thing that would matter is whether or not, when that doctor was investigated as to the reason and the cause of death, was whether or not that doctor followed the standard of care. And if he did, then everything was fine. If he didn't, then their further investigations had to happen and possible criminal charges. So if you go outside of the standard of care, it's almost like going outside of insurance, and
right.
It's irrelevant whether or not someone's healing someone.
But and the standard of care is changing, though, because 100 years ago, chemo, radiation, and maybe surgery.
Well, the standard of care is just made up.
Yeah, but it shows that it changed because we didn't have it 100 years ago or 50 years ago, and now these are your 3 options. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they just, they'll add a 4th option if they find a financially viable thing to add for cancer. If it's not radiation, surgery, or chemotherapy, if they find some other therapy that's going to destroy the body, but it's profitable, they'll add that too. And so the standard of care, like you said, it changes, but it just changes based on profit. It has nothing to do with whether or not it works or they care about people or if people are being healed. So they're putting them through this whole
poor guy,
process here.
Poor guy.
That's so sad.
Huh. Wasn't he the one too that reached out to that Brittany Maynard or whatever her name was? That girl in Oregon that decided to end her life because of her brain cancer. Mm-hmm. And he said he would help her even. I mean, talk about a kind man.
Yeah.
And yet she was interesting to me because she seemed to be, gosh, I wonder how much of it was the media hype, of her claiming that she wanted to, end her life and not have this horrible quality of life and not have to suffer. And then once she said it, I know people were thinking, oh gosh, now that she's been interviewed by, all these magazines and is all over the internet, if now she feels like she has to go through with it. And you just wonder. I mean, when a guy like Burzynski reaches out to you, it's like, man.
Did she not get it, I wonder? Did she not get the request?
I don't know how she could not get it. It was all over the place.
Well, her story was all over the place, but she's probably receiving hundreds or thousands of emails a day.
That's true.
Right?
I feel like, though, it was, I wonder what the outcome of that was. Either, I don't remember if she denied, the treatment or didn't get it. But either way, it's just sad to me because...
You know what? I just realized that we just fell victim to the same thing everybody else falls victim to.
What?
Is that we assume that this Brittany Maynard person is a real person. That could have been a trumped up news story. That's possible.
It's possible.
I mean, probably highly unlikely and probably not the truth. But I mean, why wouldn't, it would be a great public thing for that to come out and to push an agenda. Mm-hmm. But I doubt that's the case. But I think that does happen from time to time. They just fake, made up news stories.
You're right, but we do have to question.
Yeah, we have to question just
everything.
Because it's on the news. And just because this Dr. Burzynski, I don't know if this is true either.
Yeah.
I'm not there in Austin, so I don't know. All I know is what Ty is saying here in this video. So we'll put a link to this.
Yeah.
To this update. So, but I guess the moral of the story is just question everything, even if you hear it from us or Ty Bollinger or the news or anybody.
So they're just trying to stop him, basically. They want to take his license away and shut him down, but they don't want to, they're not going to, press charges against him.
I think they're trying to do that, too.
Oh, my gosh.
For practicing outside of the standard of care. Because what happens is that they try to make people, not scapegoats, but examples. So other doctors are fearful of doing the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Hey, have you heard about what's going on with sarma?
Sarma and melngailis or whatever? No.
Oh,
what do you mean?
Becky?
She's from
Health Nut.
We have a couple of her books, her raw food books.
All right, so Aaron, our friend over at Health Nut News, great person.
She's what's his name's girlfriend, Dr.
Mercola. Yeah. She's a fugitive.
Who's a fugitive? Sarma?
Yeah. Fugitive, raw food, celeb. I love that there's foods. That's bizarre to me. Rachel Ray and all these other people on the TV. How are you food celebrities? That's bizarre.
Yeah, you're a celebrity because you eat food and you make food. What do you mean a fugitive?
Raw food celeb caught after ordering Domino's pizza. Is this real? So this is what...
what does it say?
A raw food restaurateur, author, owner of One Lucky Duck, and fugitive wanted for a scheme to defraud, grand larceny, criminal tax fraud, and violator of labor law. Sarma melngailis has finally been arrested. Police found her after she and her husband ordered a pizza from Domino's. Why does this matter? What is this so weird? What? They found her like she's, 3 slices into Domino's and it's like, oh, the world's going to end because...
Well, I think it's funny they had to mention that, though, because she's such a raw food, guru. Are you kidding?
I hope we're growing beyond that as a culture.
I hope so, too.
Who cares what people eat, right?
What?
While on the run in a hotel in Tennessee. Her restaurant, Pure Food and Wine, opened in 2004 in Gramercy?
Gramercy?
And what is one of the city's first raw food restaurants. It had a huge celebrity following. Woody Harrelson, Alec Baldwin. I love, like, these are like Deborah Messing.
Yeah.
Like these, like
grade B actors. Grade B.
They're just low-level actors.
No, they don't. So sad. Oh.
Who is that? Phil Henry talks about.
Phil Henry. Deborah Messing. He's so funny. That guy's so funny.
I love that. Okay. Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm.
However, by the beginning of 2015, something had changed, and so she wasn't paying her staff.
Oh.
For some reason, putting, I guess, siphoning millions of dollars into some personal account that she had, wasn't paying her staff.
No.
Yeah, crazy.
Literally millions of dollars?
Well, that's what this story says. You know what? And there's got to be a 24-count indictment against melngailis and husband, Anthony Strange, 35. It transferred nearly $1.6 million from the business to her personal bank account. But we transfer money from our business. That's how we live. So I don't understand. If she made, just because she transferred 1.6 doesn't mean that it's bad or immoral.
Right.
Of which her husband blew. I love this. This is great. So the claim is that she transferred nearly $1.6 million from the business to her personal bank account, of which her husband blew roughly $1 million at Foxwoods Casino. I mean,
what a strange story.
Does it matter what he does? If that money is his that he's earned, I mean, can he not go and play? I don't think that gambling is the greatest thing ever, but I mean, does that somehow reflect anything about? Is that a bad thing? I mean, it's just weird, but
if it's their money, they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah,
it's
right?
like,
I'm not going to do that, but.
Well, I think the pizza comment was just because they apparently were on the run in Tennessee, right? And so they probably ordered pizza and they showed a transaction and then they found them or something.
Yeah, maybe they didn't have their, they hadn't eaten. I mean, who knows? Maybe they hadn't eaten in like a week or something.
Oh my gosh.
At Foxwoods Casino and another $200,000 at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Strangest. Is that the guy? That's her husband. Strangest dropped another $80,000 on Rolex. That's a little bit weird. And other pricey watches, and used more than $70,000 on trips across Europe. The indictment says they used another $10,000 to pay for Uber car rides.
Wow.
But that's really irrelevant. I mean, what they do with their money if they earn it. But that's just bizarre. And she says here.
Who does, Aaron?
Aaron says, yeah, this is her sort of commentary at the end. She has used and betrayed many people. It's so sad. I've spoken to Sarma online before, have eaten at her restaurant, and own her raw food cookbooks. It's all very tragic. I will keep you updated.
Oh, that's sad. When did that come out?
Aaron Elizabeth. May 12th. What is it now? May 13th? One day ago.
This just happened.
Yeah.
Is that her with like short hair?
I think it's pulled back.
Okay. She's so pretty.
Yeah, she is.
Gosh, that's terrible. Yeah. If that's true.
Yeah, bizarre, right?
Oh, weird.
So tune in to Extreme Health Radio for the latest news on all the scandal and gossip going on in the raw food community.
Oh my gosh. That is tragedy though. Golly.
Yeah, it's just a bummer. I mean, she apparently wasn't paying her employees, but again, these are all claims. We don't know.
Right.
Any of these things. You got to look into these things and figure out why. And I mean, maybe she really wanted to pay,
I know. You never know people's stories. Yeah, you never know. And everybody makes mistakes. It's like, who knows if something was blown out of proportion.
Maybe she was going to pay her employees, but maybe, who knows? Who really knows?
Who knows?
These are all just, whatever.
Man, that's sad though, if that's true.
Did you put a note? I'll put a link to this.
To which? Maggie was licking my laptop. Maggie. Yeah, I put a note.
Okay, cool. I'll close this tab then.
How sad.
Okay, so Lauren writes in, please have Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride on again. For people who are not pregnant, would it still benefit if you were to put yogurts and kefir on the skin, like she states, if one cannot consume them? It should be fine, right? Lauren.
Oh gosh, I can't comment on that.
Because remember Natasha was talking about putting yogurt in the hoo-ha?
I do remember.
The hoo-ha area?
The hoo-ha. I think that's something you'd want to check, though, for sure, before you... I don't know. Pregnancy is a whole different deal.
But she's saying if you're not pregnant.
Oh, if you're not.
Could it still benefit just to put it on your skin?
Oh,
I bet you it would.
I don't know. I would think.
Yeah. Give it a try, Lauren, and tell us what happens. I mean, it's just yogurt.
Yeah.
Unless you got an allergic reaction to it.
Yeah, I'm not it's like I want to be so careful not to give advice to people, but I'm curious what if they do it, I'd love to know what happens.
David writes in, could you direct me to the show about Crossroads with Dr. Dan Engel?
Oh, yeah. Did you end up putting that one back up on there?
Yeah. Let me see. We did 2 shows with Cross. If you type in, here's a good way to find shows on our site. Type in Extreme Health Radio with no www, nothing in between Extreme Health Radio or before it. And don't put a .com on there, put a space, and then put Crossroads or anything else that you want to see. Like if we've done a show on...
Good search engine tool.
MS or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was episode 370. That was with Dr. Dan Engel. Wait a second. We had them 3 episodes later with the whole crew? 370
maybe.
and 373?
That might be right, because I think that they were coming this way, and that's how that happened.
Oh, okay.
That's weird. Yeah, I think that's true. Are both those episodes up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go, David. Episode 370, 373. Well, final question, Ron. Hey, Justin, Kate, opinion on a dental problem. When you had your root canal teeth replaced with what? I just had a front tooth break off at the gum line. Ooh. They say it's calcified. My dentist recommends a root canal. I don't know what to do.
That's a front tooth?
At the gum line. So the whole tooth broke off? Sounds like the tooth broke off. Okay, so the tooth broke off at the gum line.
And there's still tooth up in there.
Yeah, so the dentist wants to do a root canal, which makes sense.
Oh, gosh.
That sounds to me like the best thing to do. I'm not a dentist, but essentially that tooth is going to be dead.
So not a root canal, an extraction. A root canal is not what you want to do.
My mistake, yeah.
Right. I think that's what you meant.
You're right. Yeah, you don't want to do a root canal on that because it's going to be dead, leaving a dead organ in the body.
Right.
People don't realize teeth are organs.
Right.
So
it seems to be better off to remove. From everything we've talked to with multiple dentists, it seems like they all agree in this situation, if you're trying to preserve your best health, to extract the tooth, and then go in and do an implant of sorts. We have not, the problem with us, not problem, but we have not had any anything replacing where we just have holes in our mouth still. So
yeah. So if you meet me in person and I smile and I'm missing a tooth,
there you go.
There you go. That's why.
It's different though when it would be your front tooth. I think you probably would have done something, whether it be a Flexite, non-toxic retainer type thing that you can take in and out, or an actual replacement. But wasn't it Dr. Nunley, Stuart Nunley, our dentist, who was saying that they're working on regrowing teeth possibly? And that's what we're waiting for to see.
Yeah, you know what? We did there's a dentist in California. I did a show with Meridian recently. We're soon, in the next few months, we're going to be launching a private membership website, and this is going to be awesome, and I'm really excited about it. But and we're only going to let in a few hundred people to start with, so to keep it manageable. But I did a show last week with her, where there's a dentist in California that's having a really great success with a specific protocol on how to regrow your teeth.
Really?
Yeah.
A protocol, not even stem cells?
Not even stem cells.
What?
And I think, so you'll have to stay tuned to the website because I can't remember offhand what she talked about.
Oh my goodness.
But, yeah, people are we did a show with a guy on urine therapy, remember?
Yes.
And they're doing something with urine and stem cells.
I do remember that.
And regrowing teeth.
Somebody William?
Yeah.
Why am I thinking that's his last
that's
name?
right.
Jeremy Williams?
Jeremy William, I think.
Wow. Pulled that one out of thin air.
Yeah, so it's being worked on. I would recommend, from everything I know, the root canals are dangerous because it's essentially a dead organ in your mouth, and what happens is that you get all these toxins and chemicals. They actually tested the chemicals that were in my root canal. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, and Dr. Nunley gave me a PDF of the report, the lab results of what that was. And dude, you should see. They found like so many. What were some of the diseases they've told us they found in other people, like botulism and
yeah, all kinds of creepy.
Yeah. It's insane. So,
well, maybe we could post a link to my finger of my thumb, because I don't think I got a report on what was in mine.
No, for some reason he just tested mine because I think cool. It was a costly exam and he did it to us, to help us so we could share it and stuff.
Right. I didn't get my report, but man, when I had my tooth extracted, my root canal undone, basically the tooth extracted, my gosh, I had these wart, sometimes even boil looking growths on my left thumb. And I'd had them for years, probably 5 years leading up to it.
Yeah, maybe more.
Had them burned off and they grew back. Dermatologists didn't really know what they were. I didn't know what they were, but I knew it wasn't good. But what ended up happening was I had my root canal tooth removed, and within
2 days,
3 days, thought I was imagining.
Let me see it now. Is it still?
I thought I was imagining things and that it was going away, but sure enough, within a couple weeks, they had gone down to almost regular skin. And The only time you can even tell is I have one little white discolored mark on there that was like the worst of all of them, and it will show up when I get really cold or really hot. You'll see some like white or red mark.
But it's so
it's pretty intense what happened with me.
You wouldn't even see them on there.
No, you wouldn't. And who would? And they were growing on my right hand too, on my index finger.
Oh, really?
They started taking over my joints, which is bizarre. So you'd think that they'd be like a wart type thing.
Did those ones go away too?
Yeah, they're gone.
I wonder, I wonder if it was that HPV virus thing. Remember that guy, the tree man that we saw?
Thanks for comparing me to the tree man.
Oh.
I know it's out of love.
My wife, the tree man. That's not the best.
I liked what you said to me yesterday, even better in the kitchen. When I had makeup on and you came and hugged me and said, "It's Beauty and the Beast." I said, "What does that mean?" And you were kind of being funny because you had your eye swollen shut by the bee sting. We didn't even keep talking about your bee sting.
Oh, right.
It swelled shut. So you were saying, "Oh, you look pretty," and I had makeup on and my hair down. Yeah, but I thought you meant I went from the Beast to like Beauty.
Oh, because you put makeup on. So.
Yeah. That morning I looked haggard, and then I come back out all done up, and you're like, "Oh, it's Beauty and the Beast."
Oh man.
But what were we saying before?
We'll put the tree man. We'll put
the tree man. Yeah.
We'll put a link to the tree man.
Novemtree. Wasn't that, or was that another kid?
That was another kid.
Poor guy.
Yeah, the tree man. The tree man had what they
the HPV gone wrong. Huh?
Yeah, and I wonder if that's what you had going crazy.
I wonder, like, so what does that mean about having a root canal tooth out? Like, who would have thought it was a root? I mean, it could have just run its course as if it was a virus and gone away, but I find it very strange. I'd had it for years, and within 2 days or whatever, it starts to go away.
Yeah, to me, I mean,
the power of the mouth.
Anecdotal for sure.
Yeah,
but to me, there seems. We'll put a link to it. We'll put a link to the before and after photo. Mm-hmm. And if we even did a after photo now, it's even way better than it was.
Way better. We got it pretty fresh when it was going on.
Yeah. Ron, I would recommend going to Dr. Nunley. Anytime you go to a holistic dentist, it's costly. And we put it on our, we went twice. We went once in 2010 and once, I think, a couple of years ago.
And we got out a care credit card.
Yeah.
Which is for medical. A lot of places accept care credit, and thank God Dr. Nunley is one that does. So
yeah,
I think it was like didn't we have like 12 months no interest or something? Uh-huh. So that was huge. That was a big blessing.
Yeah, just put it on your care credit and maybe it'll be covered by insurance as well. But anytime you get things done right, it's just like organic food. Everything's more expensive because more love and more care has to go into these kinds of treatments. So yes, it is expensive, but it's your teeth are so important. Mm-hmm. I am so disciplined now about brushing my teeth after every meal.
Yeah.
I don't let food or drink sit on my teeth anymore.
When you're getting your tooth, when you're going under, he puts you in a twilight stage and you're getting this IV in your arm thinking I'm going to come out without a tooth. And then the reality of not having that tooth, to think it all could have been, most of it prevented.
It could have been all prevented.
I mean, is this David?
David, yeah.
David sounds like...
No, Ron.
Ron sounds like an accident. I mean, that sounds pretty terrible. Or a calcification. I mean, I don't know how it happened, whether he was biting on something and it just, ooh. But I mean, that might be an insurance thing, but a lot of people also don't have dental insurance and then might not be covered with a holistic dentist. So, but man, is it worth it? It's so worth it, in my opinion.
To keep on track with your dental health? Yeah,
completely. I brush my teeth way more than I'd ever brushed before. And I thought I never want to have to go through this again. I never want to have another tooth.
Gotta fly to Texas. We're in California. Deal. It's a huge deal. We got to take time off work. Got to go there and spend a few days in a hotel room. Yeah. Because you can't go, you can't fly on a plane right away because it disrupts the healing process.
Right.
as per Dr. Hal Huggins. And it's this whole ordeal. And to think, you know what, it all could have been prevented. Plus, then you got to pay off the care credit card.
Right.
And heal up.
Right.
But it's profound.
Yeah, it is profound.
You know, I'm really bummed that I don't have a tooth, though.
I am too.
You know, I smile, and it's just not me.
I know.
But
I still think you're handsome. I like you.
It's not Beauty and the Beast.
It's not Beauty and the Beast. You're not the Beast. You just kicked Maggie in the face. It's okay, Maggie.
It's okay, Maggie. Don't worry about it. So yeah, go over to Dr. Nunley. That's who I'd recommend. And we've been there twice, and he's been on our show a couple times. They're just such great people.
But if not, my gosh, any holistic dentist is going to be probably a better option. I mean, in my opinion, any holistic dentist is, better than a traditional for what that issue is, I think.
Yeah, I agree. We're almost wrapped up. One other thing I want to cover is your book that you're reading.
Oh.
And I want to share a little bit about the book I'm reading, and then we'll wrap it up. How about that? Well, one real quick thing. There's an article about neem that I wanted to share with you guys really quick.
Neem oil?
Neem oil over on Ty Bollinger's site.
That's good for the teeth, too.
Yeah.
Like neem toothpaste.
So here's the summary. There's a summary. Most North Americans never heard of its healing abilities, but researchers are discovering that an evergreen tree often used to make furniture offers some powerful anti-cancer benefits.
Wow.
More than 60 different biological active neem components have been identified and used for a variety of health and medical applications. A recent published study shows that nimbolide, a bioactive neem compound, was able to induce apoptosis in pancreatic cancer cells.
Whoa.
To the extent that the size and number of cancer cell colonies was reduced by 80%. That's crazy. And pancreatic cancer...
It's a really serious thing. That's intense.
Yeah, and...
Whoa.
Dr.
That's
Gonzalez...
one of the hardest ones to treat.
It is. It's so aggressive. And Dr. Gonzalez, rest in peace, did a lot of work with pancreatic cancer and enzymes, but this is showing an 80% reduction. Nimbolide also reduced the ability of pancreatic cancer cells to migrate and invade other areas of the body by an astonishing 70%. That's insane. Neem preparations have been shown to potentiate the actions of anti-cancer agents. They also provide protection against the life-threatening side effects of some of the various toxic drugs. So go get some neem, people.
So does neem only come in oil form, or can you get it as a leaf? Or do they have like neem tea? I wonder how that works.
Yeah, you can use the leaves, the twigs, the oil, the flower in different ways. It can be used to cleanse the skin, mosquito repellent. It can be used in shampoos. It's in a ton of different shampoos.
Okay.
Helps to heal wounds. Helps to clean the air. People use it for dandruff and for cleansing the eyes and the immune system. It's really a powerful thing. So neem.
Have you also heard of Suzanne Summers' new book out?
No.
It just came out on April 19th in paperback, apparently.
Really? How did you hear about it?
I saw it because I follow her on Instagram.
Oh.
But it's called Toxic. TOX-SICK.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, it looks really good.
What's she going on about?
Well, it says, this is the Amazon. Pioneering health and wellness advocate Suzanne Summers delivers a powerful answer in this expose on the immediate and long-term dangers of living in a world that has become increasingly toxic to our health. The buildup of toxins in our bodies can lead to a myriad of health concerns, including weight gain, food allergies, brain disorders, cancers, among many others. Moved to investigate by her own family's plight, Suzanne sits down with environmental doctors and specialists who share eye-opening information and practical advice for how to survive, thrive, and stay healthy today. In Toxic, you'll learn how to effectively detox all your body's systems and learn different survival skills that can save your life. From top field experts in the field, including Dr. Sherry Rogers, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, Dr. Richie Shoemaker, Dr. Walter Crinion, Dr. Stephen Sinatra, and Dr. Gary Gordon.
Oh, wow. All people,
it looks really good.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that would be good for people to know.
That would be a good reference book, probably.
Totally.
Toxic.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing cool
So
things.
what book are you reading?
Soul Craft by Bill Plotkin.
Soul Craft. You followed in my footsteps.
I'm crafting my soul as we speak.
Bill Plotkin. What do you think of it?
So far, I like it a lot. It's not... I find that at times he's a little bit wordy, and I feel like he tries to be a little bit too poetic at times, because I remember reading some things and just thinking, wow, you're just really trying to just sound highfalutin or something.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah, there's a few times where I was just shaking my head going, what is he why? Like that, it's just completely unnecessary to say what he just said. But the general idea, though, I really like a lot, and that is living... The subtitle is Crossing into the Mysteries of Nature and Psyche. And he talks about the connection between our soul and the difference between our soul and spirit, but the main connection between nature and the soul, and how we ultimately need to be reconnected with nature in order to go into our soul and figure out our soul's deepest longings, our fears, our idiosyncrasies, our areas
the way we're wired.
of weakness, the way we're wired. And so he talks about a bunch of different ways of doing that. He talks about like saunas. He's talking about doing ancient sauna, ancient like
sweat
lodges. He talks about imagery and guided imagery. Interesting ways of looking at how you dream instead of looking to interpret your dreams, but he talks about sort of role play and getting into the characters of your dreams to figure out what's going on and feeling more than trying to interpret what the dream is.
That's interesting. Yeah, I do remember that concept. I read it last summer, almost a year ago.
Yeah, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
I'll forget all this stuff too, but well, maybe I won't if I talk
maybe
to
you won't.
Jim Quick. But
who's Jim Quick? Is that how to remember things?
KWIK. Yeah, he's just really good, and he's a psychologist and ecotherapist, I guess. But he talks about going on soul journeys. What does he call those?
Vision Quest.
Vision Quests, yeah, and
which is really great. I read a book called Quest by Denise Lynn. It's interesting stuff. I think there's some pretty profound stories that come out of that. One
of the things I find really interesting, we'll end quick, but it's interesting that he's making the connection between soul and nature. And I've always said this, and you have too, where it's just so interesting with churches, you're disconnected from nature when you're in a church. And how can you connect with God and soul when you're in a building?
Yeah. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around.
Yeah. Huh. But it's just an interesting book. And I think it's living with more depth and meaning.
Yeah.
And getting in touch with your soul. It's pretty good.
I mean, for me, that can be done a lot of different ways, but I feel it the most when I'm in nature.
You feel what?
I feel the most reconnected when I'm in nature.
Oh,
like I'm reconnecting to my soul. Because sometimes they can be, in a day spa for the day when you're reading books and relaxing and getting pampered and getting a massage and letting go of things. But man, mostly I feel like when I'm in nature is this real reconnection in a deeper level.
Yeah.
More lasting.
Yeah, I think that, like you were saying before, it seems like our society has cut us off from nature because of the city lights and being disconnected from the stars and reading the stars and looking up into the sky and basically just being reconnected either visually or through feeling if you're not somewhere visually, but just being out in the wild nature and basically in awe of where you are. You know what I mean? Like if you're in Yosemite National Forest or a national park somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you're just sort of looking out over the landscape and the scenery of the mountains and the rivers and everything that's in front of you. And you're just in awe of what this all is, right? And even if we live in cities, we can still have that if we can look up to the stars.
Right.
So we're lucky because we live by the beach and we can have that with the ocean and the stars. But when you live in a city, most of the time there's so much pollutants with light, and so you can't even see the stars. So like you were saying, it's almost like are they trying to disconnect us on purpose from something larger?
Seems like any time that they have people herded into an area of like everybody live compact, everybody put put people into groups, have everybody. I have no problem with like a tribe mentality. I think it's cool, but we aren't picking it. We're being almost forced into these little...
Just being in groups of people everywhere you go.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, clusters and stuff.
Right. But how easily trainable that is. It's like you go to Disneyland, you wait in a line. Everybody's, you know, like you go to a movie theater, a concert, we're all being funneled like a bunch of sheep.
Yeah, funneled into an area.
School, I mean, learn how to stand in the line.
Remember walking in line and when you're
everything.
Kid?
It's pretty weird.
When you're driving on the street, traffic, they always bunch people up with traffic lights. So there's clusters of groups of cars going together instead of just...
They like the group mentality. They don't like individuals deciding things on their own.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if that's true.
Who knows?
But it just seems to be in every way we're all just herded together unless you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Living in the jungle.
I just want to look at the stars.
How do you like your book before we end?
Well, I'm reading 2. Which one?
Were you reading Reincarnation Christianity?
Mm-hmm. And then I'm reading, I started The Journey of the Soul or something like that.
Who's that?
The Michael readings or something. I don't know. Our neighbor Robert let me borrow it.
Oh, yeah.
I just started that one too. But
How do you like that?
I don't know yet. I'll let you know about that one later.
It's kind of hard to get through?
It's kind of funky.
Mm-hmm.
But the Reincarnation in Christianity one is quite an interesting read. I haven't read it for a few days, so I'm not sure where I stand on it. I feel like I need to read the whole book before I can make an honest opinion, but I think he poses some really, really interesting questions about why can't reincarnation exist within Christianity.
So
he's not saying it does.
So he's more just posing the question, kind of?
Yeah.
And talking about the history of it.
It's like reading, I think I mentioned this in the last free-for-all, it's like reading a dissertation. It's like reading someone's really intense paper on their thoughts and theories. He has a lot of really interesting things to say. It's very heady. It's very, you have to be in the right mood because it is reading I don't know. He's like a professor. It's pretty deep.
Like a paper he wrote for college or something.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly.
Reincarnation Christianity. Okay.
Yeah. I just like to, I don't know. A lot of people we've talked to and a lot of things in my own life have started to make me wonder if and why that couldn't be true, because there definitely seems to be some bizarre... Actually, and you know what? I know we have to wrap this up, but Denise Lynn sent out an email yesterday. Can I bring it up real quick?
She's your favorite person these days.
I really like her.
Denise Lynn. We'll put a link to her.
Well, she's part of the Hay House Summit, and so I also signed up for her newsletter. But can I read this really quick? Because it's like, what do you do with something like this? If you don't believe in reincarnation, then you got issues. Because this kind of stuff really makes you question it, you know? So the title of her newsletter is What She Saw in the Hidden Drawer Shocked Her. Do you get her newsletter?
No.
Okay. Check this out. I won't try to bore people. We'll end on this because it's fascinating.
Go, girl.
She says, Fran, you go, girl. And this is not the person's real name, came to a past life workshop I was leading. This is Denise saying this because she hadn't been able to get into a meaningful relationship. She was curious if there was a blockage that originated in another life and hoped to get a past life regression and that it would help. A number of her friends had also tried regression and found it useful. At the completion of the first regression, she came up to me and said, Denise, I just saw a past life in which I was in love with a man who loved me, but would never leave his wife because she was ill. He was honorable, so we never consummated our love affair, but we wrote passionate letters to each other, which he stored in a false bottom of his desk. She said, I died fairly young in that life and never had a physical relationship with a man. I can understand now why I can never seem to attract a committed relationship in this life. This regression was so helpful, but here's the crazy thing. I think I know the part of town where the man lived in my past life. After this weekend workshop, I'm going to drive to that area and see if I can find the house.
Wow.
I wished her well on her journey. It's not uncommon for people to get an area or a name in the regression and then through research literally find their former selves. How crazy is that?
Wait, say that again?
It is not uncommon for people to see an area or get a name in a regression and then through research literally find their former selves.
Oh, wow.
I heard a while later from Fran. You're never going to believe this, Denise. Crazily, I found the house. I was really scared, but I gathered my courage and walked up to the door and knocked. Astoundingly, the man who opened the door was a much older version of the man I had seen in the regression. I couldn't help myself. Standing at his door, I just blurted out the entire story. How much would that freak somebody out?
Oh, my gosh. So this person just went up to someone's random door and told them this?
Yeah.
Okay.
However, instead of thinking I was a crazy woman and throwing me out, he had a strange look in his eye and quietly invited me in. I walked into the house and it felt like deja vu. He led me to his desk and opened the drawer. There in the false bottom were all of my letters.
Wait a second.
I about passed out. Evidently, his wife had died after I died, but he had never remarried. I can't begin to tell you how incredible all this was. And then she goes on to say how happy they were to find each other, and they tried to pick it up where it left off, but they just didn't have it. She wasn't physically attracted to him because he was a lot older.
Wow.
But talk about, she said she was able to move on and finally find a relationship. But would that not trip? So what do you do with stories like that? You know, or the little kid who was a World War II pilot and just knew it and literally through research found out who he was and knew his old self. I mean, so all of it to say, whether it's true or not, I don't think people are off their rocker. I think they're experiencing these really crazy things that aren't explainable, or they are. But a book like Reincarnation in Christianity is a really interesting book, and I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
That is so bizarre because you have
pretty
to
interesting, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you got to look at that and just wonder what's really going on. You know,
it poses a really interesting question and helps you to, I don't know, dig deeper and try to come to, if we can't figure it out, at least try to come to terms in our own beliefs about what could be true.
Then if that's true, if it's true that we come back, maybe it's only true for certain people and not others, or maybe, but if it's true that we come back, there must be reasons why we come back. And that's really where it's like, whoa, okay, what are the reasons why? What are the reasons?
Right.
And is it possible for us to come back and, you know, a lot of people that, you know, have more of a Christian mindset might say, no, that's not true. But is it possible that it could be both?
Right. That's what I'm interested in.
In heaven, or end up in hell just for a little bit of time, or, you know, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who really knows?
I don't know, but I'm loving the book. Once I got into it, I sat on it for, I think you got it for me for Christmas. Either this last year or the year before. I don't remember when, but it was one Christmas, and it's been sitting there since, and I just decided to try it again. So I'm glad I did. What
I like to think about beliefs aren't necessarily like, am I a
label this?
A label like this? Am I a Republican or am I a Democrat? I look at beliefs like software programs or tools in a tool shed. Like a tool, you know, like a hammer can be used for a specific amount of time for a specific purpose to accomplish a certain goal. And once I'm done with the hammer, then I can put it down. And so I look at beliefs like that too, where like you don't have to completely identify with that belief, but you can use that belief for a certain amount of time to accomplish something to get you to another place. And then you can, once you're there, you can put that belief down. So you don't have to hold on to your beliefs and completely say that the totality of my soul and everything that I am is this. Because I could never be a Republican. I could never be a Democrat. I could never be anything, but I can hold a belief for a certain amount of time in order to feel a certain way, to emotionally disconnect, or to accomplish an emotional, spiritual goal, and then I can let that belief go. So when people attack that belief, I'm no longer so attached to it that I have to identify with it and get angry in reaction to that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because we've talked about this before, but we aren't even our own name. We're not. We call ourselves this, or we're referred to as that, but we're just putting labels on our people. Somebody gives us a label as you are Justin, I am Kate. And we're not. What does that mean? You know, like
it's just a word to
identify me
from someone else, right?
It doesn't mean that's what I am.
You're not a woman and I'm not a man. We're soul.
We're soul.
You know?
Yeah.
One final thing.
Yeah.
We're going to close out the show right now, but there's an interesting article. There's a rare footage from George Bush.
Oh, Junior, Senior.
Mr. Former Director of the CIA. Did you know that?
I did know that.
1987.
Forgot that, but I knew that.
His fateful visit to our friends in Monsanto.
Oh, gosh.
And there's a whole deal going on at the time. Monsanto creating this new gene-splitting technology, inserting artificial genes into other plant life and plant substances so that they would...
proliferate?
Well, no, they would be resistant to pesticides and things. I mean, it's incredible. And so the biggest obstacle for Monsanto at the time, and still is the regulation of their business. Because if their business is regulated, then obviously you can't work in certain areas and you can't basically overtake the world because you're regulated. And so they were talking with George W. Bush back in '87 about this, and they were talking about the problem of regulation. And then George says, kind of off the cuff while he's laughing,
oh gosh,
if you have problems getting stuff through, don't worry, just call me. We're in the dereg business. We're in the deregulation
We're in
business.
the dereg business.
How's that?
Oh man, that's disturbing.
So if you think that
just call me.
Yeah, if you think that there's no government, when you talk about health,
is it true that he said that though? I mean, who knows?
It's on video.
Oh, okay.
You can watch the video. I'll put a link to it on this show page. But when you talk about health, we never thought, getting into Extreme Health Radio, that we would be talking about religion, spirituality, government, all these history, science, conspiracy theories. All of this stuff relates to health. So we'll put a link to this thing.
It's called Waking Up.
Yeah, it's called Waking Up, for sure. Yeah, right?
Right.
All right, that's a wrap. 118.
Right on.
Whew. That was a long show. That was good. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was episode 431, right?
Right.
So if you guys are interested, you can download the show notes of all these things, like that Monsanto video I just told you about and the World War II kid. It takes me a long time, just so you guys know. It takes me a long time to put together the show notes. So thanks for bearing with us on that. It takes us a long time to be able to put all this stuff together. So, but in the future, if you listen to this year from now, you won't care about that because you're in the future.
Because you're in the future.
You're in the future.
Love it.
So, extremehealthradio.com/431 is where you can get the show notes to everything we talked about today. So,
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We love you all.
Catch you on the next episode.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That was so good.
Oh my gosh.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous